If you believe every missing child deserves answers, hit subscribe and stay with us. Because today, we dive into a story that refuses to be forgotten. Weeks have passed, months even, and yet, the silence surrounding the disappearance of 4-year-old Gus Lamont is growing louder. In the vast, unforgiving expanse of South Australia's outback, the wind whispers across empty tracks and red dirt, but there are no answers. No footprints, no sign of struggle, just absence. Gus was last seen playing near his family's Oak Park Station homestead, a place where the horizon stretches forever and every sound should mean something. But that day, silence claimed him. And since then, it hasn't let go. This is not a story of quiet resignation. It's a story of questions that echo louder with every passing day. Questions that demand attention, scrutiny, and vigilance. Some may think the investigation has stalled, but in cases like this, silence can be deliberate, strategic. It can be the sound of careful work happening behind closed doors. Every delay, every pause, might mean the truth is inching closer, even if we cannot hear it yet. As we walk through this case, remember, silence is not always absence. Sometimes it's a signal. And in Gus Lamont's story, the silence is deafening. If you want to help keep his story alive and follow every lead as it emerges, stay alert, stay engaged, and stay with us, because this is far from over. It was a typical afternoon at Oak Park Station, the sun high, the air dry, the land stretching for miles in every direction. 4-year-old Gus Lamont was playing near a familiar sand pile close to the homestead. His grandmother was nearby, keeping an eye on him and his baby brother. Dogs wandered lazily, and life seemed ordinary. Then, sometime around 4:30 p.m, the routine broke. Gus didn't come when called. At first, it seemed trivial. Maybe he'd wandered behind a shed, chased a dog, or simply been distracted by a bird or the rustling wind. But minutes passed, then half an hour, and still no sign of him. Panic began to ripple quietly through the property. By 5:30 p.m, emergency calls were made. Police, SES volunteers, and locals mobilised in a desperate search. Helicopters traced wide circles over the red plains. Drones scanned the property from above. Teams moved in precise lines, combing every ridge, every gully, every creek. Yet, as hours turned into days, there was still nothing. What makes this timeline haunting isn't just Gus's disappearance. It's the missing hour. The moments between when he was last seen and when the alarm was raised are murky, filled with subtle gaps and inconsistencies in recollections. Every second matters in a disappearance like this. Even a 5-minute delay can mean the difference between a clue and a void. Investigators have painstakingly reconstructed the last known movements, not to assign blame, but to map the critical window where a normal afternoon transformed into a mystery that still grips South Australia. They're asking the questions no one can yet answer. Who was near Gus during that final hour? Where did every person and animal move? And what, if anything, might the land itself be hiding? As the sun sets over Oak Park, the shadows lengthen, and the outback's silence becomes almost tangible. In that quiet, every detail, every overlooked sound, every missed movement might hold the key to understanding what truly happened. Stay with us, because each piece of the timeline brings us closer to the truth, and missing even a single moment could change everything. After the initial chaos of searches, media attention, and public concern, something curious happens in complex cases like Gus Lamont's. The public hears less. Official updates slow. Press conferences become rare. Silence seems to settle over Oak Park Station. But silence doesn't mean inactivity. Behind the scenes, investigators are working with a precision that rarely makes headlines. Every pause in public communication may be strategic, designed to protect evidence, preserve witness accounts, and ensure that nothing is contaminated before the truth is fully revealed. Police are reportedly using subtle investigative tools that most of us never see. Mobile phone pings, GPS signals, and tower data are being carefully analysed to map movements around the property minute by minute. Vehicle logs and deliveries are cross-checked. Re-interviews of family members, staff, and visitors are conducted repeatedly, not to accuse, but to observe patterns, inconsistencies, or subtle changes in tone and detail. These methods are painstaking and invisible to the average observer, but they are crucial. Each small piece of data, each carefully timed observation, contributes to a digital and forensic mosaic of the final hours Gus was seen. The lesson here is clear. The quieter the investigation seems, the more meticulous it may actually be. Every pause, every withheld statement, and every secretive check is part of building a picture that could finally explain how a child could vanish without a trace. Even as the world waits, the detectives aren't idle. They are watching, analysing, and piecing together information that can't be rushed. And in this silence, there's the possibility that the answers are forming, quietly, deliberately, and far from public view. If you want to stay informed and follow each development as this investigation unfolds, make sure you're subscribed. Every update counts, and in a case like this, every observation matters. While the investigation proceeds quietly, another layer of work is happening where few eyes can see: forensic and digital analysis. These aren't dramatic searches with helicopters or search dogs, but highly technical, painstaking efforts that could hold the key to understanding what happened to Gus Lamont. Investigators have reportedly returned to Oak Park Station to examine the land with renewed focus. Soil samples, water tanks, and even areas around the dam that were drained earlier are being retested. Advanced ground-penetrating radar scans are used to detect subtle disturbances in the earth, changes invisible to the naked eye, but potentially significant in revealing overlooked activity. Even microscopic fibres or trace residues can tell a story if carefully analysed. Alongside the physical evidence, detectives are building a digital reconstruction of that day. Every mobile phone ping, GPS trace, deleted message, and tower log is being cross-referenced. Metadata analysis allows investigators to map movements second by second, showing who was stationary, who moved, and where potential discrepancies in accounts appear. Deleted texts or short-lived calls are being recovered and examined for context. Each tiny signal is like a breadcrumb, and when combined, they form a timeline that may shed light on those critical hours. The suspense lies in the invisibility of this work. Nothing flashy, no dramatic footage, just patience, precision, and expertise. Every small clue, every hidden pattern, may eventually connect the dots and illuminate the moments that led to Gus vanishing. In a case like this, the quiet work often speaks louder than public statements. The ground beneath Oak Park, the devices people carried that day, and the subtle digital trails could be the difference between mystery and truth. If you want to keep following these hidden developments and understand the full story as it emerges, stay subscribed and turn on notifications. Every piece of evidence is part of the bigger picture, and missing none could make all the difference. Even as detectives work quietly behind the scenes, the community around Oak Park Station hasn't stopped. In Junta and the surrounding areas, Gus Lamont's disappearance has left a profound emotional mark, driving locals to action in ways the public rarely sees. Small volunteer groups organise informal searches, revisiting ridges, gullies, and waterholes that official teams may not have fully accessed. Farmers use their own utes to cover remote areas, marking coordinates, taking photos, and sharing updates with neighbours. Every effort is meticulous, born not of duty, but of a deeper personal connection to the land and to the Lamont family. Local businesses have also stepped up. Petrol stations display posters, cafes set up donation jars. Truck drivers travelling the highways spread awareness to anyone passing through. Even those who never met Gus are joining the effort, proving that the community's concern is as widespread as the outback itself. But alongside this dedication lies frustration. Many locals feel that early assumptions, that Gus simply wandered off, may have overlooked critical clues. They wonder whether some areas were not searched thoroughly, or whether initial responses might have delayed other potential leads. That frustration fuels action. keeping the search alive even as official operations have scaled back. The emotional toll is undeniable. Families, friends, and volunteers carry a mixture of hope, fear, and anger, and the pressure to uncover answers is ever present. Yet, this community perseverance becomes a powerful counterbalance to the silence of the investigation. Their noise, in advocacy, organisation, and relentless questioning, ensures that Gus's story remains in the public eye. For the Lamont family, this unwavering attention is both support and a reminder that the search for truth is far from over. And for those following from afar, it underscores a simple reality. A quiet investigation can be complemented by a loud, compassionate community determined not to let a child's disappearance fade into obscurity. If you believe in keeping Gus's story alive and honouring the efforts of those still searching, subscribe and stay informed. Every share, every awareness raised adds weight to the hope that answers may yet come. In a case as confounding as Gus Lamont's disappearance, silence naturally breeds speculation. But investigators caution that what the public doesn't hear is often where the most critical work is happening. Behind closed doors, detectives explore multiple avenues, weighing possibilities without rushing to conclusions. One theory is the simplest. Gus may have wandered further than anyone realised. In the vast outback, distances are deceptive, and a curious 4-year-old can move quickly, leaving little trace if the terrain is uneven, scrubby, or rugged. This possibility is explored thoroughly, but the lack of footprints, scent trails, or sightings makes it harder to sustain. Another line of investigation considers accidents. Remote properties carry unique hazards: equipment, water tanks, uneven ground. An unfortunate incident could have occurred within seconds, unnoticed by anyone nearby. Investigators revisit timelines, witness statements, and environmental clues to test this scenario, ensuring every potential accident is accounted for. The most sensitive theory involves the possibility of human involvement. It doesn't imply guilt or assign blame, but detectives are reviewing phone data, visitor logs, and vehicle movements to understand if anyone's actions that day deviate from normal patterns. Each detail is scrutinised, and even small inconsistencies are analysed, not for public speculation, but to guide the investigation with precision. The silence from authorities fuels curiosity and concern, but it is also strategic. By withholding information, police prevent misinformation from spreading, preserve the integrity of witness statements, and protect sensitive leads. What looks like inactivity is often methodical planning, connecting evidence that cannot yet be disclosed. For the public, the unknown is uncomfortable. Questions multiply. Where could a child go? Who might have been nearby? Could a single moment explain everything? While answers remain out of reach, the silence itself becomes a form of narrative, one that reminds everyone that the investigation is alive, evolving, and far from finished. The lesson is clear. Silence does not equal stagnation. Behind the quiet lies action, analysis, and the careful piecing together of a story that may eventually explain what happened to Gus Lamont. If you want to continue following every development and help ensure Gus's story remains in focus, subscribe and stay engaged, because the truth, when it emerges, matters to all of us. In Gus Lamont's case, the silence isn't empty, it's deafening. Every day without news amplifies questions, tension, and unease. It's a paradox. The less we hear, the louder the story becomes in our minds. Communities across South Australia feel it. Locals recount the hours of waiting, the roads they've driven, the outback they've scanned with weary eyes. Each passing day without an update makes the silence almost tangible, pressing against the nerves of those who care. And even for those far away, the absence of information creates a constant hum, a reminder that a child vanished and no one knows why. This silence also serves a purpose. For investigators, holding information protects the integrity of the case, prevents contamination of witness recollections, and allows meticulous work to continue unseen. But for the public, the effect is emotional: anticipation, frustration, and a relentless need for answers. Every news article, every online comment, every fleeting rumour grows louder simply because official updates remain sparse. And yet, in this quiet tension lies hope. Silence can be a signal that progress is happening, that leads are being followed carefully, and that when the right moment comes, breakthroughs will emerge. The stillness of Oak Park Station and the empty tracks surrounding it may not signify inactivity. It may signify precision, patience, and the slow assembly of truth. The noise of silence reminds everyone watching that this story is alive, that each unanswered question, each gap in knowledge, is part of a narrative still being written. And as the quiet stretches on, it creates a shared experience, a collective awareness that the disappearance of Gus Lamont touches far beyond the boundaries of a single station. Stay alert, stay informed, and keep Gus's story alive. The silence may be loud, but it won't last forever. And when it ends, the answers will be worth every moment of waiting. Some truths are protected, not hidden. In the endless stretches of the Australian outback, where silence is a constant companion, the quiet around Gus Lamont's disappearance is deafening. But that silence isn't emptiness. It's strategy. It's focus. It's the careful, deliberate work of investigators following threads invisible to the public eye. For the Lamont family, each day without answers is a heartbreak, but every moment that investigators stay patient, thorough, and precise is a step closer to clarity. The community, too, carries the weight of this silence. Locals who walk the same tracks, comb the same ridges, and remember every detail of that September afternoon know that every tip, every shared sighting, every discussion helps keep Gus's story alive. The silence around this case is loud. Yes, louder than any voice, louder than headlines. And yet, it also carries hope. Hope that the next discovery, the next analysis, or the next piece of overlooked evidence will finally bring answers. The absence of public updates doesn't mean progress has stopped. It means it's happening quietly, intentionally, and with precision. If you believe in truth, if you believe no child should vanish without answers, this is the moment to act. Subscribe to stay informed. Share this story to raise awareness and keep the conversation alive. Every view, every comment, every bit of attention shines a light in the darkness. In cases like this, awareness itself can make a difference. Because one day, the silence will break. And when it does, the full story of what happened to Gus Lamont, the answers, the evidence, the truth, will finally come to light. Your vigilance, your care, and your persistence will have mattered. Stay aware, stay compassionate, stay present, and never let this story fade.